What's up, everyone? Welcome back to By the Book Bonus Bets. This is McDonald. My name is Nejad. And Meg, we're on football overload right now, which is never a bad thing.
Never a bad thing.
But let's transition from the NFL. Let's talk about the college football futures. We got 4 left. It's the final 4. And let's take a look before we give out some picks and perhaps talk about some look-ahead lines or some exacta picks, which is what we're going to do on this bonus bets. Let's take a look at the odds. We got Ohio State at minus 115. Just a few days ago, this was plus 100. So yeah. Ohio State receiving some money, of course. Texas plus 360. We got Notre Dame at plus 425. And then finally Penn State at plus 525. What's interesting, Meg, is we talked about it on previous By the Book shows. If you want to take Ohio State, maybe you take it now. But what's interesting is the exacta market. Before we get there, though, any thoughts on those lines that you saw?
I'm a little surprised that you do have to lay $1.15 for Ohio State to still win 2 more games, right?
Yeah.
It's not like we're down to the national championship and this is a money line play versus another team.
Yeah.
This is still, you still have to win 2 more games. So I'm a little surprised by the pricing, but the Buckeyes have looked incredible since they lost to Michigan. So I kind of get it because they're playing with some fire.
So let's talk about the Buckeyes, but in the context of maybe some different bets that you can enjoy at the Caesars Sportsbook. We've got our CFP Championship Exactas here. Now, Ohio State, Notre Dame, the lowest exacta odds. Now, just so everybody understands what this is, the first team is the winner of this exacta play, and the second team is the runner-up. So if you think Ohio State's going to play Notre Dame and you think Ohio State's going to win, well, instead of taking that minus 115, you take the plus 250 and so on and so forth down the board, with Ohio State, Penn State being the second option there. Clearly, bettors think Ohio State's going to beat Texas. Yeah. When you look at these 4 exacta markets, which one do you like? Or excuse me, 8. Which ones do you like best?
So I actually have 2 plays here, and one is a little bit of a hedge, I guess you could say, but I do believe that Notre Dame, the stock is really, really high right now, and I kind of think this Notre Dame-Penn State game is somewhat of a toss-up. The line is like 2, 1.5-ish, depending on the book. So I'm fading the Fighting Irish narrative. I like Marcus Freeman, do not get me wrong. But they played Indiana, who we're not sure if Indiana really belonged into this expansion of this playoff. And then they played Georgia with a backup quarterback. So I think we can throw out the narrative that, oh, they look so good, and Penn State hasn't played anyone. I know SMU and Boise State, but it's kind of the same for Notre Dame. So with all of that being said, I love Ohio State. I think since they lost to Michigan, they have been scoring 40-plus points every single time out, whether it's against Oregon, the #1 team in the nation, or Tennessee the prior week. So I'm going to be on an Ohio State-Penn State plus 275. However, if this happens, because college football can be crazy and the Big Ten is kind of awesome this year, now the SEC stinks. I absolutely love to see it. But I'm also going to be on a Penn State, Ohio State at plus 850 because you're going to get some value there. And I do think laying $1.15 right now for Ohio State is way too much juice to be laying. Yeah,
plus 850 is a great number. There's just no question about it. I'm going to go a different direction. I totally get the Ohio State argument. And again, if you want to take Ohio State straight up and you don't want to make that Notre Dame Penn State decision. Right. Oh, my gosh.
Come on.
Well, the whole team is really good.
Yeah.
I mean, talent-wise, Ohio State is the team. Take the minus 115 if you don't want to declare between Notre Dame and Penn State. I'm going to declare, though, because just a few days ago, I took Notre Dame at plus 475 to win the title. They're down here, obviously, to plus 425. But if I think Notre Dame's going to win the title, and if I think Ohio State is going to beat Texas, which I do, well, I'm going right to Notre Dame, Ohio State plus 650 because, again, it's plus 425 at the Caesars Sportsbook. If you actually think Notre Dame's going to win, and if you think that 6.5 point spread on Ohio State versus Texas is legit, just go ahead and take the increase, the 2-point increase to the plus 650. Your thoughts?
I just think the stock is so high for Notre Dame. Like, I do think the Notre Dame-Penn State game is much closer to being a toss-up than the Ohio State-Texas game.
Meg, you know who else has a very high stock right now?
Who's that?
The Ohio State Buckeyes. I mean, it wasn't.
This is true.
It was a month ago they lost to Michigan, and here we are thinking like this is one of the best teams in college football.
Favorites. I know. But my argument is more into the semifinals and, of course, the quarterfinals. Like the college football playoff alone, Ohio State's stock is so high because they beat Oregon and Tennessee. We're talking about Notre Dame, who beat an Indiana team who maybe didn't belong, and then a backup quarterback in Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Ohio State obliterated the teams they had in front of them. Notre Dame's done a pretty good job obliterating teams this whole season. Again, another
People forget they lost to Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
We forget.
Feels like 10
People
years
forget.
ago.
I know.
Either way, I think this is a really unique way to find maybe some plus value, some better value than just going ahead and outright betting whichever of the 4 teams that you like. Again, you can find these at Caesars Sportsbook, and you can find Meg and I on By the Book on Monumental Sports Network, and of course these segments on Monumental Plus. Thanks for joining us. That's some college football futures for you. We'll see you soon.